Good morning. No, it's not good morning. It's good afternoon. Um, I'm doing this video to talk about referrals and sort of medical support and professional support that you can get in the UK and my own personal experience. You probably noticed that I have shaved my head and it's already growing back. Look at that. God, I feel like that 1990s Gregor Fisher character, Mr. Baldy. But at least my forehead isn't as big as John Barr's. A few people will get that joke. Don't worry. You're not you're not missing out. So first of all, um, let me talk about my own personal experience. As I've said in previous videos, I have been referred. I did counselling, and I've now asked to be referred for CBT. I'm having really bad anxiety issues at the moment, where I'm leaving the house probably not even once a week at the moment. On average, it's probably um, I'd say every 10, 11 days on average. I'm probably going leaving the house, which can make it hard because you get people walking past and they just automatically see that you're just sitting there. And I could be watching TV, or I could be on my laptop, or I could be reading. Um, but what happens is when you see people looking at you or looking in, um, is my anxiety will then start thinking, shit, what are they thinking about me? Are they thinking that I'm a bum, or that that I'm unemployable, or that I just refuse to work and I just want to sit at home all day, watch TV, or read a book or on my laptop? And that really, really gets me. So sometimes I just sit instead of sitting in my comfortable lazy boy chair. Um, I will sometimes actually just sit on the bed, and read a book, or I'll stand in the kitchen, which can be quite hard actually because I've got chronic pain in my left leg. But I can just stand in my kitchen for a good half an hour, um, not do anything, just stand in the kitchen just so no one can see me. Um, so yeah, so recently I've asked for a CBT referral, chased after it because had another referral that came through within two weeks. So chased it up, and it hadn't been requested. So I was a bit annoyed because this is something that I really want to get sort of on straight away. Um, and it's sort of frustrating to see doctors say, yeah, we'll refer you for this, and then not do it. You know, it's been 3.5 weeks since I last seen my doctor. Um, Sorry, 2.5 weeks, not 3.5, 2.5 weeks since I've seen the doctor. And that was for a referral, and also for uh, it was like a results day for me. I gave another stool sample, and it was basically for referral for the diarrhea that I keep getting, that I've had since the 2nd of May. Uh, so it got me thinking, why? Because ever since I've gone to my local surgery, or registered with my local surgery, I've had nothing but problems, and each one builds up, builds up, builds up, and then it just becomes this. In my head, it's just this nonsensical, don't trust them, look elsewhere, which is quite hard to do if you're having to rely on the NHS and there's only one doctor's surgery in a village, well, a town. Um, and it's quite hard because I get I was in Billswade the other day. I had a blood test in Stevenage for an INR. I went into Billswade. I went into Asda to just buy a drink because I was really thirsty, and to get the bus back from a bus back to Hitchin, and then I can get a bus from Hitchin to Olsey. And as I walked in there were a lot of people around, milling around. It was fairly early. And I just heard this one woman say, I can't believe how many unemployed people there are in Asda already. There's literally no need for her to comment. I then sort of realised, well, hang on. She's making that assumption that everyone in here is unemployed. And she's in here. So she's now... So I sort of... In my head, I turned it on her and sort of walked away as if I'd actually said it to her. And I was like... But I hadn't said anything to her because my anxiety would not... Don't know where I got that G from. My anxiety would not allow me to say such a thing. To a stranger anyway. I'd say it sarcastically to a friend, but I certainly wouldn't say it to a stranger. So by the by, as I've been referred to before, referred to counselling before, and it worked. Sort of, I just remember talking about sort of things and everything. I don't want to go into too many details because my head will probably explode. But it frustrates me that we've got this wonderful NHS. We have this thing in the UK where we love the NHS. We praise it to high heaven. We tend not to hear a bad thing said about it until it affects us personally. So for me, I can praise the NHS. They saved my life when I was a baby. They've saved my body. Quite a few of you will remember that I went through a window when I was 11. And that's a massive scar. So they sort of saved my arm. And they've done other things that have, just made my life as better. They in fact saved my life a few years ago in 2012. I had appendicitis, and my appendix was removed. I was told by the nurse that the appendix itself had actually decimated as they took it out. And I sort of looked it up, what an appendix can do if it does burst, and oh my god, it's rather scary. Now I tend not to Google things when I've got when I've got issues. I once did this in 20. Trying to think now. It's 2014. It was when I was living in Swansea. I was working for the insurance company, and I kept getting headaches every day for about sort of 3 or 4 days. But I'd still go into work, and but there'd be days. It was sort of around about February, March time, so it was raining and windy, and I was wearing sunglasses to try and sort of lessen the brightness of the sky, because it really decimated my headaches. And so I googled headaches for 4 days, and didn't click on a website. It was just the first words that were put were suffering from headaches for more than 4 days could lead to I'm laughing about it now, but it really sort of made me gulp. So it said having a headache for 3 or 4 days or more could be a potential brain tumor which could lead to death. And I did the same thing in 2015 when I had my leg was injured, and we didn't know what it was. So one doctor thought that I had I'd broken my leg. The same doctor then thought that I had actually ripped the whole of my my quad muscle, the whole of it from top to bottom, from the femur. And it turned out it was a chronic pain. So we trust what we're told. I've completely gone off tangent, and can't remember what I was talking about now. So yeah, we trust the NHS explicitly until it goes wrong for us. Now, I don't mean that it goes wrong or that they have, that someone has died in hospital that we know, or that they weren't able to save someone who was under that was seriously ill. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that is when they are put under so much stress that when they promise you something and then all of a sudden it doesn't happen. Now, I use the NHS quite a lot. I don't want to, but I have to. I have monthly medication I have to take. In fact, sorry, daily medication I have to take. I take 8 different tablets a day, and some of them are multiple. And some of them are really strong painkillers, and multiple. But when it comes to referrals and things like this, we trust a doctor, we trust a GP, we trust people at the GP surgeries that they're going to do things on time, that they're going to say, yeah, we'll get this done. Now, I always ask for a waiting time, what they think a waiting time is. And I've done this through experience. Simply because it sort of gauges your brain. So when I asked for a referral, when it come to my leg that I was going to be referred to pain management, I said to him, how long will it take? And they said, oh, it'd be about sort of 6 weeks, because pain management is a huge thing, and people that are sort of have emergencies are obviously filtered first. So yeah, fine, fair enough. I actually got my referral within, I think it was about 2 weeks, so I was quite happy about that. And but then on the other scale, I've requested CBT. I was told it was going to be done, and it hasn't still been done. It still hasn't been done today. I phoned today because I'm having a flu jab on Saturday. So yeah, it was just a bit bonkers, and it really sort of grinds me down, because if that was me in a job where I'd say I would do something and I didn't do it, then I would be held accountable. And it sort of gets to me that I know GPs are held accountable. They've got to be held accountable for many things, and I've already sent off an email to say, look, I've requested this and it hasn't been done. And I think this is probably the issue because in this town, there's about, how many people live in here? I think there's about 3,000 people living here, and there's only one doctor's surgery, one GP, and then we have a locum and a nurse. So, yeah, it just sort of gets me that sort of thing can happen. And then I get the other side of it, where it gets abused. Once again, I'm not going to talk about people that abuse it because they can't control it. So something like Munchausen's, where they're mentally ill, and they're using the NHS because they think that they're, or they're trying to convince, well, you know what Munchausen's is. I'm talking about the people that, when they abuse the system for their own benefit. So people that claim that they are able to get free prescriptions when actually they should be paying. People that are, look like me on benefits. I'm actually eligible for free prescriptions, but I actually pay for the prescription card. So I pay a monthly fee of £10.40, I think it is, to have an annual card. So all my prescriptions are covered in that £10.40 per month. And that grinds me down as well, because as I say, I would love to not have to use the NHS as much as I do. I would love not to have to have a flu jab every year. I would love not to have to go to St Bart's Hospital every year. Have a pacemaker check up every year. Things like this. But people don't understand that. People always jump to assumptions. Now I'm going to go back to the medical side of it, because I said that's what I was going to think of. Is that in today's society we are really heavy. We are promoting that mental health is so underfunded, that there are people out there volunteering. That are, I know of 2 people that suffer from depression that are actually studying to become counsellors, which is fantastic. And it is so underfunded that there are people out there that still think that mental health doesn't exist, that it's in people's figment. It's in. Oh, get my words out. It's the figment of people's imagination. And it doesn't help then when the medical side of it, when the medical professionals, whether it be a GP or a mental health advocate or a counsellor themselves, won't, put things in place to ensure that you're getting the help that you deserve. Or it's so entwined with other things that when you do get referred, it's not what you asked for. And this actually happened to me originally, way back yonder when I had my counselling. I asked to be referred for counselling. In one of my previous videos, I explained that it was a lady with a clipboard, and I was thinking, God, this is going to go wrong. And it did to begin with, because I was referred to counselling, which was good. And I had to go to a church, because on the side of St Andrew's Church is a room. And I went in there, didn't actually realise it was actually a group session. And I walked in and spoke to the lady, and she even said, "I don't think this is for you, because yes, this is a mental health counselling session, but this is a group therapy session, and it's for people that not just mentally ill, but also have other things wrong with them. So people that may have brain injuries and things like this, and it's not going to be suitable for someone who suffers from depression and anxiety as yourself." So I had to go back to the GP and ask them for a 1-to-1 referral, which they did, and I eventually got. So yeah, I think we need to sort of concentrate more. We need to, once again, we need to get the medical professions to take it really seriously, instead of them saying, yeah, we'll get it done, and then not get it done. We also need to change the attitude of people. The attitude of people are just so, recently, I was walking through Hitchin, and I was on the phone, and I happened to mention to the person on the phone, I'm not going to name them, that I've had really bad anxiety issues, and then heard someone behind me, "There's no such thing as anxiety, it's just all in your head." And when I looked around, there was actually no one there, but the person was crossing the road. And it was just like, fine. So we just need to change attitudes. and we need to change the professionalism for mental health, because mental health is going to be absolutely huge soon. Where it's already huge now. It's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, because the less people that ask for referrals, or the less people that don't talk about these things, the worse it's going to get. So yeah. Anyway, that's me rambling on for 20 odd minutes. Thank you very much. Toodle pip.